Hello and welcome to episode 195 of the Arena Regulars podcast. I'm Zach,
And I'm Jeff.
and we're your source for drunken Magic the Gathering arena content.
That's right. Just a couple of regular guys drinking some irregular beers and talking about Magic the Gathering. Or are we talking about Final Fantasy?
Ooh,
I
a
don't
little
even
bit
know
of
what this
both.
podcast is about anymore.
Yeah, we are definitely doing both. Tonight is our pre-game for our the Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering crossover set. They are coming together and mixing it up.
Worlds are colliding.
Yeah, it's very exciting though. I've pulled a full 180 on my feelings about this set. So, like I'm a huge champion of it, and I cannot wait to be playing some of these cards. But first, each week we bring a beer, we drink it, we rate it on a scale from bronze to mythic, just like the tiers in Arena. So, with that, Jeff, what is on tap?
Tonight we have Steadfast, Brockton, Bitter, Fine Ales. Steadfast is the brewery. We've had them on before. It's a local Toronto brewery. My recollection of their stuff is that it's good.
Hmm.
So I'm happy. I'm excited for this one. Extra special bitters are a style that tend to be underrepresented that I really like,
Hmm.
which feels like just all the styles I like are very underrepresented and you never can find them. But
Yeah.
happy to see this one. And I love the description. It's your favorite bar's favorite beer.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so excited to give this one a try. Yeah, ESBs are awesome. They're kind of like it's a little heavier body, I guess. Sort of. I think I like them for the same reason I like Reds, right? It's a little
Hmm.
more about the body and a little less about the fancy fruit you
Things.
throw in it or like the
Yeah.
hops you use and stuff. It's more about what to me is like the beer.
Just base
Um,
beer, just like
yeah,
grains, how toasted they are, stuff like that. Um,
yeah.
so very,
And instead of trying to make it as like tasteless and drinkable as possible, like
mhm,
some beers do, they're actually trying to go the opposite route. They're trying to get all that flavor from the beer itself and not from like throwing, they're not like a
other
mad
things.
scientist in a lab trying to throw whatever they can in there to get some flavor. They're
Exactly.
trying to build flavor from the ground up. And so these styles can be hit or miss a lot of the time because if it's poor, I think they probably take a lot of skill to do right. Um,
True.
but I have faith in this brewery, so I'm excited
Hmm.
to try the ESV.
Exactly. I'm also excited because they do make other beers like some of their browns and stuff I've tried have been
Right.
quite tasty, and I think they've done a great
Oh,
job. So I'm excited for this. I'm looking forward to it. So let's crack this open and let's taste this puppy or whatever. Here we go.
that's a beer.
Yeah, a puppy beer. Anyway, with that, we have some magic news, which is really just Final Fantasy comes out next week, and so it's that time again. That's the biggest news. It's very exciting, and I can't wait. I always love the beginning of a Magic set. Like, there's nothing like it. It's so much fun. Pre-release is this weekend. Excited for that. Yes.
Yeah. Pre-releases are sweet, although there is nothing
Hmm.
quite like the first draft
Hmm.
because the cards are just like flying by you. You feel like you have no time. You're like, I looked at the spoilers, but I still feel like I haven't read any of these somehow, and I just have to like, pick the rare and then read all the cards.
That's definitely what it feels like. I will say I was fortunate enough to be able to draft this set before the pre-release.
Mm.
As a MTG ambassador for the Final Fantasy set, I was given product, and so I had a play booster box, and I have a video coming up this weekend, but of the event basically, but got together with some friends and got to draft it. But I will say, all right, there are two things that we do every time with this pregame episode. We're going to talk about our no pass list, but we're also going to talk about our Pack Zero Pick One challenge, which is MTG Data Science on Twitter and Blue Sky. They always put this thing together, and we love playing it. But I made my picks before the draft, so as not to be influenced by the draft, because I felt like that wasn't fair.
So he says. Let's
You,
see.
when I talk about, there's a couple picks that might seem strange, but
Okay.
anyway, we will get to that
That's
later.
good because I have some fun picks as well.
Oh, great. Well, I'm very excited for that. But first, Jeff, let's get into one of our favorite things and something that people, we harp on this a lot on this podcast, but I think it's worth harping on. So let's do
Mhm.
it again. Jeff, what is our no pass list?
All right, so the no pass list is a collection of cards from the set that while you are drafting, you will take even if they are not right for your current deck. So you can think of this as basically rare drafting,
Hmm.
but it's strategic and planned rare drafting. So instead of panicking, I don't know if this rare is good or if it's something I want. Should I take it or should I take the card that's best for my pack? Or for my deck, sorry, we advocate you to take a little look through the cards ahead of time and say, okay, these are the cards I really want for XYZ constructed decks. If you don't play constructed, I guess none of this really matters. But
Hmm.
if you do play constructed, there are certain cards you just want. And
Hmm.
taking that is going to be more valuable than the minor incremental gain you get from having a slightly better deck from taking a slightly better card. So it's essentially rare drafting. We are pro rare drafting here, but we advocate that you be a little more like plan ahead for your rare drafting.
Hmm.
Because especially at the start of a format, you know, there's nothing worse than that like paralysis of like, is this rare even good? I don't know. Do I want this rare? Am I going to build something with this rare? Like, am I even understanding what it does correctly? I'm reading it for the first time. So and then you and either take a garbage rare instead of a good card, or you take the card and then was like, dang, I really wish I
Yeah.
took that rare because I don't want to use a wild card on it. So Zach and I, practice what we preach. We go through the set, we pick all the cards that, hey, no matter what, if I see this in draft, I'm going to take it. It also makes your decision a little easier. You can relax. You can say, okay, I promised myself I would take this rare. I have to. Now I
Hmm.
can chill and just read the other cards in the pack. That's my
Exactly.
favorite part about the whole thing, to be honest.
It's true. And also, just, sometimes your mind gets swayed very easily by the different colored symbols. And the more you're playing draft, the more you can realize that, just because there's a mythic card in the pack doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make your deck a lot better or is something you should build around. So it's a good practice to just figure out which ones you actually need, and which are important, instead of, oh, well, there's a rare, I'll just take the rare, and you don't even read what it is, and you're just like, well, it's always good to take the rare, and you just it's a good practice, I think.
Yeah.
I also think that over time, my lists have gotten kind of smaller and smaller. They used to be a little bit wider. Well, like, there's so many things I want to be doing and all this different stuff, and I should pick up some of these, and I should pick up some of those. And as I've been playing more and more, there are less and less things I specifically feel like I have to do in constructed.
Yeah.
Which also may be where you're sitting. If you're like, hey, there's just one deck I want to play, and there are two rares I need play sets of, you're just like, you stick those on your list. You're like, I'm never going to pass these because I want them for my constructed decks. And if you've been playing Arena for a while, wild cards are hard to come by, so you might as well get them while you can, because you don't want to waste your wild cards on things that you could just pick up for free. So Jeff, we always start off by talking about the lands in the set, because lands are the most important things. They go in all of your decks. Uh, so you want to make sure that you have a good mana base, and it's a thing that early players won't always do. We harp on this a lot as well, but this time our lands are pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
This
I
is probably
think.
the most interesting because it's either like I'm not interested, they're not on my
Mhm.
no pass list, or the vast majority of the time I am interested and I want four
Mhm.
of each of these.
Yeah.
This I mean I don't know about for you, but that's not the case. Neither of those things are true for me with this set.
Yeah, I think I want to start off this entire podcast and all of it by saying that this set in general, I feel like when we are coming into like the universes beyond era of Magic as we're in currently, and this is the first standard set that's universes beyond, I thought for sure they were going to ratchet up the power on this guy. They're going to be like, you know what? We're going to crank it for all it's worth. and let's sell those packs. Turns out I forgot about the whole fact that people just want to buy packs because they like the characters, and they don't have to ratchet the power at all for packs to move. So that doesn't
Yeah.
matter. And they did, I think, a pretty good job of focusing on either making really interesting, flavorful designs or very synergistic cards that can be very powerful in the right situations. But the actual raw power is not present on as many cards as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I think, and I was buying what you were selling on that one. I was like, yeah, yeah, they're gonna make
Hmm.
this crazy. But I think seeing this, it reminds me that, probably the people who buy the most packs are casual commander players.
Hmm.
And so this looks like a very appealing set to a casual commander player. And so I think
Absolutely.
they were doing what you were saying, where they were loading the set
Hmm.
with goodies for the to sell a lot of packs. It's just that sell a lot of packs, they're
This.
not targeting competitive
Hmm.
people who want power. They're targeting casual commander players who want interesting, fun, cool designs with good flavor that they
Hmm.
can like build and lots of legendary stuff and I think that's what this set looks more like to me. It looks it looks like a cool set for sure, but in terms of power level of standard,
Hmm.
this doesn't look like it's gonna, blow any of the what we have out of the water.
No,
Um,
I,
I
I,
think, you know,
I
yeah,
absolutely agree. Just like, which I think is great. I think this is exactly where we needed it to be happy,
yeah.
as like kind of arena standard players, and draft is always great. Like you're never really upset by that. But
Like
yeah,
for standard power level, I'm pretty confident in saying Bloomborough kicks the shit out of this one.
it
Like,
does. Yeah.
yeah,
Which is one of their favorite things to do is whenever there's a set that's like at the beginning of rotation, just like kick the
hmm
shit out of stuff
yeah,
to make they want huge shakeups at rotation, so they always make sure that that set's really strong.
yeah.
Um,
Bloomborough was wild. Duskborn was good too, but
mhm.
Bloomborough is just like feels like it completely defines the format.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, do we need mono red again? Let's just build an entire mono red deck in Bloomborough.
Yeah,
But anyway, getting back to the lands, um, we don't have like rare duels really. There's one rare duel, but I don't think we're interested in playing Balam Garden Seed Academy. That's like it's not. It's just a tapped green blue land that like does some town stuff. Maybe there's something possibly that could be fun, but ultimately, it just looks like a guild gate to me. Um,
yeah. I think this card is interesting. I'm not. It's not on my no pass list either.
yeah.
But the only reason I'm even curious about this card is because of Starting Town. So
Hmm.
if you're gonna play Starting Town, you already then have four other towns. Then plus, if you had a bunch of these, that might be enough
That's true.
towns.
Just to flip it over. Well,
But it's not even the most exciting backside. Like the idea of a
mhm.
land that turns into a creature, some decks might be super interested in that, but I'm not gonna chase this one. I'll wait and let other people beat me with it, kind of thing,
Mhm.
before I use my hard-earned wild cards or draft picks on it. But
Exactly.
I could see a world where, this might be a little better than it looks.
I will have to watch some people. I mean, like a vehicle that crews for one, and when it attacks, you draw a card. Like that seems good for draft. I think it'll be helpful in draft. Like that'll be great. You'll pick it because you want to be in the towns deck, but I just don't really see it being something in standard. But starting town, I don't like. I can't remember if we actually talked about this card yet, but this is definitely this is the number one. This is the marquee card for me. Like
Yeah.
I have been opening packs. I want this card. I want to have paper versions of this card. I don't have any so far, and I'm really upset. But starting town is absolutely the shit. So just to read it, starting town's a rare land town. It enters the battlefield tapped unless it's the first, second, or third turn of the game. It taps for colorless, or you can tap it, pay 1 life to add 1 mana of any color. I think we're going to see this everywhere. Every like aggressive deck that's 2 colors will want to play this.
Or more.
That's true,
Like
2 or more.
these cards often see play in like 3 color, or are the reason like 3 color aggro decks are even possible. Yeah, this card's obviously really good. In standard, I'm just curious, like, I mean, I guess this just goes in is it? And it's really good
For
in is
sure.
it.
Absolutely.
Um, and so it just already kind of has a home. So I'll be picking up 4 of these. This isn't my kind of card. I don't love mana confluence personally, but it is powerful, and it's one of those cards I tend to begrudgingly play. I'm like, yeah, I'll play mana confluence, but I don't want to. And starting town, I guess, is going to be the same thing. So I'm definitely looking to pick up 4 starting towns. That's on my list for sure.
Yeah, that's number one.
Yeah,
But for the other
and I think you
lands,
want 4. You want 4 for
you
sure.
you
Like
definitely want 4.
the decks that play these play 4.
There's like because then you just get to kind of trim all of your other what is it? I mean, there's probably something to be said about playing your other pain lands, depending on if you're 2 colors. If you're 3 colors, this is just like way better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just like this card so much. It's just exactly what I want to be doing.
And it lets you get away with cheeky splashes too. Like you could be a 2 color deck that just puts something in the sideboard that's white or something in your
I love
Rakdos
cheeky
deck,
splashes. I love cheeky
And you're
splashes.
just like starting town will get me there, man.
But Jeff, the adventure lands, which we've talked a little bit about, since we've talked about them, I think a couple of the other colors have come out. But there's
Yes.
really only one that matters, right? There's one that matters, and I think you should read it. It's kind of for you. It feels like.
Yes. So the new one that wasn't out last time we talked about these is mid, and Zach knew about it. So um, now I'm trying to like, I can't believe you didn't tell me, man.
I'm sorry,
Uh, Midgar, city of Mako.
Mako.
It's a land town. It has an adventure, which is a sorcery reactor raid, 2 and a black. You may sacrifice an artifact or creature. If you do, draw 2 cards, and then it's a tapped land that taps for black. I love this card. Oh my God, this is exactly what I needed for my sacrifice deck because I already think I can never remember what Village Rites is called now, but
Corrupted Conviction.
Corrupted Convention, thank you. Because it just pisses me off that I can't play Village Rites because I have my cool art that I like for it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's the same card. I already think that's the worst card in the deck, and I was looking to cut it, but I was like, I feel like I just kind of can't. And this is just the perfect solution because it's a land and just replaces it. Um, and like this is super powerful. Reactor Raid, you sack something, which in you build around it correctly, that's a bonus. You draw 2 cards and then you get this land. So it's kind of like drawing 3 cards. Like this is almost like painful truths kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you don't lose the life, you don't have to do the whole multicolor thing. Like there's a history of black 3 mana cards that draw you 3 cards being constructed playable, and they usually have some sort of weird downside. This one, the quote unquote downside is sacrificing a creature. Um, but if you can turn that into a good thing, like, then that's awesome.
But or artifact. You also get to sacrifice artifacts with this, which is like
Yeah,
deadly dispute. Level of
yeah.
great.
This is awesome. I think I called it Ancestral Recall in our Discord, so I stand by it.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. I want 4 of these. I don't know if like the decks I play will actually play 4, but I could see a world where we get there. So like I'll probably start with 3,
Yeah.
and then maybe that becomes 2, maybe it becomes 4. I don't know. Like the biggest knock against this for my decks is that I play black 1 drops and I really want to play them on turn 1. And so if this is your land, a lot of the time it's like, that
That's
sucks.
fine. Starting town will be your land.
Ugh. It's gonna have to be.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Don't worry about it. You'll gain the life back. It's fine.
but I love Midgar.
Hmm.
As far as the other ones, I think I want one or two just to have in my collection. They're utility lands I like having, even if I don't think they're great or they don't apply in the decks I want. I just love having one or two copies of the utility lands so that I can try it out
Hmm.
without having to craft it because maybe it's decent, I don't know. But some deck like utility lands are just so good that sometimes
Hmm.
it's hard to actually gauge them because you're like, this looks kind of shitty, but then it's a land slot,
It's a land, and lands are really important. Lands are like you have to play lands, and lands that do more than just be a land is really good.
Yeah,
I
in
will
today's
say
Magic, you have to be squeezing, like you have
mhm,
to be squeezing value out of your land slots, or
everything. Yeah,
it's going to be tough to compete.
it's true. So I will say, as far as like these adventure lands go, it's like Midgar is like no pass first round, right?
Yeah,
Midgar starting town. I want to have copies of those. But the rest of them, I'm kind of on a, if they're wheeling, then I'll grab them kind of thing. Where it's
I
like,
think I'll take the first copy of each of them just to have it, and
and then
then
sit and
whatever I
see.
pick up beyond that, I pick up.
Yeah.
But you might just
Which
pick these up naturally, right? Because
I think you will. Like you'll play everything but the blue one.
these are not great limited cards, most of them.
I I think that the white and the green one. I think that all of them except for the blue one will have utility in the draft format. I just think
Well, I
the
think
blue one.
they're fine, but they're not like, oh, I'm excited, I open this, I slam it kind of thing, right? So
No, no, no. But like
you'll pass these.
if it's like third pick, you're in green, you get Xanarkand, you're like, sure, I'll take it. Like having a land that's a creature later is great.
Yeah, I think Xanarkand is fine in draft, like
Hmm.
to pretty good. The blue one, yeah, you're right, it sucks.
I think that's really just the only one that I'm so not like it just traumatizing sounds so cool, making someone mill half their library, but you're never gonna kill them. Like it just never does it. So there are other cards that let you mill, and this could help you get there, or whatever. But this card alone will never mill your opponent
I feel
out,
like the
which is
red
the
one
reason I
can't
don't like
be
it.
excited. Like,
I like the red one. So the red one we haven't talked about either. It's the same type of thing. It's an instant for 3 mana, and it makes a 0/1 wizard that whenever you cast non-creature spells, it deals 1 damage. But having an extra, like, not just thinking, oh, this makes a 0/1 wizard, it triggers all your other wizards. And
mhm.
so it's in your land slot at instant speed. Whether the instant speed part matters all that much, I don't really know. I don't know if you're playing like red black or red blue, or maybe like a Grixis, like I'm
Yeah.
holding up a counter spell or holding up a removal and then don't do anything. I get to make a little wizard and ping you a couple times or whatever. So I think it'll be. I'm excited for that Rakdos deck, actually, the Wizards Rakdos thing. That's one of the decks that I'm most excited for. So I think that the red one's called Lindblom, Industry Regency. I think that card looks really meh, but
Yeah. It could
will
be good. Like I
be
want
more
one of
helpful
these in
in
my
draft.
collection because for sure this I could see this.
Hmm.
Because like you don't have to have that much stapled to a land for it to be just an upgrade over some other land you're playing.
Yeah,
But this is a pretty mediocre upgrade over
it's a
a land at first glance.
yeah. 3 mana for a 0/1 is a lot. Um, so
Yeah. And
it
all right, let's round it out though.
let's do it.
How interested are you in Clive's Hideaway?
I hate it. I
Yeah.
don't want it
I'm
at
not I'm
all.
not interested at all either. Like I think it's not that long ago that there was a legendary creatures deck in standard. The big problem is like legendary creatures decks tend to be like 5 color, right?
Hmm.
And so yeah, the games where you get a healthy spread of mana and you're able to play all your legends and then you have your Clive's Hideaway to play like a Joda for free or like yeah, sure. That sounds great. What is most likely to happen with Clive's Hideaway is you can't cast all the fucking legends in your hand because it's
Yeah.
a colorless. So Clive's Hideaway, by the way, is Hideaway 4. So you look at the top four, put something face down, exiled with this thing. It taps for colorless. So you can pay 2 and tap it. You may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if you control 4 or more legendary creatures. 4!
4.
And it's on the table and your opponent knows it's coming, could like kill one of them, even
Mhm.
in the yeah. This card is off my no pass list. Just
Mhm.
wanted to say that this rare land I am not interested in. Coming in, I was like, the only one I am 0% interested in is Clive's Hideaway.
Yeah. I think Clive's Hideaway is also just straight up. I don't even think you should take it in draft ever.
Oh,
Like
definitely not.
there are a ton of legendary creatures in this set. There's a lot of
Yeah,
legendary stuff. 4 is a lot. 4 is so many to have for legendaries.
it's so many. You know what happens when you have 4 legendary creatures in draft? You're
You
winning the
win.
fucking game.
You win the
You
game.
don't need this.
You don't need a colorless land that doesn't help you
Yeah,
cast them. So, I mean, I guess maybe I think there's a couple legendary creatures that are colorless, whatever.
sure. Yeah.
But this is a fun commander card for sure. But don't take it under any circumstances in draft. You don't.
It couldn't have even been like legendary permanents or something because there's a lot of legendary equipment,
Or
which then I
vehicles
might
or
be
that
like,
stuff.
all right, now we're talking.
That's what
Because
I'm saying.
yeah, but it has to be legendary creatures. That give me a
Yeah.
break.
Sorry, you can take one copy for your brawl decks, and you don't ever need another one, and
Yeah,
it will get passed to you, so you don't have to take it early because people
yeah,
will
yeah.
not want that card.
It is not playable.
It is not playable. Jeff, let's talk about the obvious one. I mean, like we're both very excited by this. Everybody's excited by this card. There's no way that we're not getting as many copies of Sephiroth Fabled Soldier as we possibly can.
Is it supposed to be Sephiroth Fabled Soldier? Am I supposed
Yeah.
to?
Yeah. Just because soldiers in like all caps. I think we
Yeah,
talked about this last time.
I know.
It's a specific thing
Well, we
in
didn't
Final
talk about
Fantasy VII.
pronunciation. That's
That's true. That's true. That we should
um,
yell it.
yeah, I fucking love Sephiroth, and will if I see this, I'm absolutely slam dunking it. But I have to imagine this card's also terrific in draft. So
Yes. I think like it's a 3 mana 3/3. When it enters or attacks, you can sacrifice a creature. You get to draw a card. Already, you're just like, this is going to be great. There's a 2 mana 1/1 that makes your opponent discard a card. Like turn two,
yeah,
you make him discard a card. You slam this, sacrifice it. You draw a card. That's amazing. Like that's already great. Everything else, and then also Blood Artists, and then if you're probably not going to flip this very much in draft,
yeah,
to the
you don't need
emblem and all
to.
that. But you don't need to. Having a blood artist that whenever you want, you get to draw cards and also drain your opponents. It's just so good
A
for
3/3
3 mana.
for 3 Blood Artist is already super solid, let alone
Super
the
solid.
drawing cards and like triggering itself,
This
sacking
card
abilities.
is awesome. It's so exciting, and this is one of those things where like I talk about this often when we do no pass lists. But Jeff is a great and fun brewer. So if you have a friend who is excited about a card, maybe add their cards to your no pass list or one of them or something because I'm sure
Especially
they're
if
gonna
you want to yeah, I want to share a deck list with you. It's nice if
exactly.
you could just build.
Yeah, exactly. When Jeff posts his Aristocrats deck with Midgars and Sephiroths, I'm like, I already have them and I can play this immediately. Thank you for that. So yes, absolutely, Sephiroth is sick, so sick. Also, it's just hard not to just. How do you not take that card? It's just cool. It just looks cool. It's got a giant sword, and
Yeah,
it's like the chase card of the set. Like you're just gonna take it. You're just gonna take it.
yeah, I'm all over that one.
Yeah, that's like never being passed. Basically, I just don't think that we're gonna see that.
Yeah, if I get past this, my eyes will pop out of my head a little bit, but I will quickly snap it up and
Yes,
be happy.
be stoked. But Jeff, what's another card that you're excited for this? What else do you have on your list, either for that deck or for another deck or something
Well,
spicy?
I actually have an interesting one, which is I want to pick up a copy of Dark Confidant.
Oh,
just because I like this card. It goes way back. I remember buying like Modern Masters packs. And this was a chase card from
Mm-hmm.
Modern Masters. It was on the packaging and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I like this art for it. So I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'll ever play Dark Confidant again. I might
Mm-hmm.
never play it again, but I want to have this in my collection.
Yeah.
So it's
I
kind of an
mean,
interesting one.
I think that's an interesting one also because since they have changed the way that art works for Arena, if you have
Yeah,
one copy of this Dark Confidant, you can make all of your Dark Confidants that art. So
yeah, that's
that's
why I
true.
want one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I would take the second one, but I want
Mm-hmm.
one of these.
One, just for the art. I like that. Um, there is one card I'm pretty excited for that we'll see how great it is. But Lightning Army of One, which we haven't talked about yet. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about it, but if you haven't seen it yet, it is one red white for a 3/2 legendary creature human soldier at Mythic. It has first strike, trample, and lifelink, and it has an ability called Stagger. Whenever lightning deals combat damage to a player until your next turn, if a source would deal damage to a player or permanent that player controls, it deals double that damage instead. All right. I basically just want to play Lightning Bolt, Lightning Deck, Lightning Burst, Lightning
Hey,
Helix.
yeah, it's like you saving the best for last year.
I am, yeah.
Helix. Yeah.
Helix. These are Helix colors. Um, this is what seems really exciting for me. The only keyword on this card that's missing is haste.
Taste. Yeah.
Haste is a really important one. Which I will say we have another card that I think is also going to slip onto my no pass list. So maybe I should kind of talk about these. I don't know if I should do it together, but I guess the next card I'm going to talk about gives this creature haste. So let's just say that.
Mm.
But being able to crack in with a lightning, like I'm assuming I'm attacking with more than just my lightning. And the fact that lightning has first strike means we get to deal first strike damage to our opponent, and then all of your other creatures deal double damage, which is nice. This works really well with monstrous rage because it has first strike and monstrous rage gives it trample, so it doesn't really
I
matter. But
love
it already
cards that
has
work well
trample.
with Monstrous Rage.
Well, you're playing red. You're playing monstrous rage in standard. That's just going to happen. But it gains a lot of life so that you're able to survive against your mono red opponents, and all of your burn spells do double after you attack with this. Awesome, awesome card.
Yeah,
You
I
just
think this
you
card would
just
be
have to get in. You just have to get in. That's all.
card would be fucking nuts if it had haste, man. That would be so unreasonable.
It would.
But
Yes.
I love Lightning. I think it's a really good card. It caught my eye in spoilers as well, where I was just like, whoa. And I have a bit of a like, that little kid love of the double damage on other
Hmm.
stuff, kind of like the Furnace of Wrath kind of thing, where
Yeah,
it was
buddy.
just like I remember losing to someone, like having a bunch of Furnace of Wraths just like shocking me. I was like, wait, it's oh my God, it's so much
Oh,
damage.
there's so much damage. Well, it's such a math thing, right? It's so fun because of all the math.
Yeah, everybody loves math, so
Yeah.
everyone's gonna love this card as well. Uh, uh, Super sweet. And I love the design here, like you're saying,
uh,
like the fact that it has first strike and then gives
mhm.
everything else kind of double damage is pretty awesome. Um, and they make you work for it a little, has to deal damage to a player, but it has
Hmm. But it's
trample.
trample.
The design's just really good. I think there's no room for haste on this card, so I'm excited to
Hmm.
see what you're planning on pairing with it to give
Yeah.
it haste.
I just will say that this is the type of card that, like, you know, you lightning doesn't have to survive. If it gets blocked by like a two toughness creature, you most of the time can do enough damage afterwards. If you waited the whole turn, didn't give it haste, all that stuff, then you have a sweet next attack with a bunch of mana open for whatever burn spells you want to play. Your Screaming Nemesis does double damage. There's a lot of scary things that go on when you start doubling up stuff, which is, a lot of these red decks we've been dealing with are like, you know, they hit and then they also get sacked and they hit more damage, so they basically have double strike, or you give them double strike and then you sacrifice them and they do more damage. This, yes, adds a color, but I think it's a great card for not only the mirror for that, but also just it just deals so much goddamn damage. It's great. Um, the card I'm excited to pair with this, which I haven't seen as many people talk about, and I'm a little bit surprised. It's a red card. It's a 2-drop. It's also a summon, which could be one of the reasons why people are like iffy about it. I thought summons were super sweet, but I can see now that people don't love when their creatures get sacrificed. But I feel like my creatures attack so
What?
often,
Who doesn't love that?
they just die. So like whatever. If they die from like what do I need to attack? What? They're gonna lose any. I'm gonna lose them anyway. So this is summon Brynhildr, which is 1 in a red for a 2/1 enchantment creature saga knight at rare. It has 3 chapters. The first one is Chain. You get to exile the top card of your library during any turn you put a lore counter on this saga, you may play that card. All right, so that
It's a
could
weird
be
sentence, but I get what it's saying.
yeah. So you have 3 turns to play whatever the card is. If it's a land, you're stoked, and your deck is not playing 4-drops probably, so you're gonna be able to play the card. And then chapters 2 and 3 are Gasalt mode. It says when you next cast a creature spell this turn. Ugh, that's also weird.
Yeah.
It gains haste until end of turn. So this comes down. It's a 2/1, draws you a card, and then you get to attack with it once, and you give another creature haste, and then it dies and gives another creature haste. And that's basically what it does. But turn 2, draw a card, either hit your land drop or find lightning or something, and then be able to give your next creature haste 2 times. I don't know. I like that.
I can see it.
I could see it. So
Especially if the card you're giving haste is lightning. That's not bad. Yeah. 2 mana, 2/1, draws a card and gives 2 things haste potentially. The only reason I would see this like not seeing that much play is because a lot of the red decks, everything already has haste. So that's
that
why it's
is one of
lightning
the
is
issues.
important because it's like this card would be unreal if it had haste
Mhm.
and it doesn't. You need cards like that to fuel this, right?
Exactly. Like you really need some powerful red cards that you're like, damn, like red or white cards are like, well, I don't think you're playing any mono white cards necessarily in this deck, but you want cards that specifically would be amazing with haste, but without, you're like, meh. Um, but some of them, like, this is the other flavor. Like, we've talked about the other flavor of mono red for a long time, or like a Boros deck. And it comes up often because it's one of our favorite, I don't know, archetypes to talk about. We think it's really important in the format.
Hmm.
And having the really fast but slightly bigger version that also has access to lifelink to beat the really low to the ground red decks could be something that the format could use. And we've seen heroic builds or other ones that are splashing white so that they can play Sheltered by Ghosts. So this
Yeah.
deck could also play that. But I don't know. There could be something there.
With
This
lightning and lightning helix, like maybe
mhm.
that's enough life gain to sort of turn the tide.
And not worry about having to gain any more life. So I think that's true. Because also lightning helix with lightning, you deal 6 damage, but still only gain 3 life. So
Yeah.
it's not like you're doing a ton of extra. But I don't know. I like it. This summon, I'm a little bit more on the we'll have to see side, but lightning for
Sure.
sure. I'm stoked.
Yeah. The last card on my no pass list, because we like to keep them tight these days. So,
Hmm.
um, but the card that I'm interested in, this just brings me back to like old school deck building, Jeff, which is Emmet Selch Unsundered.
Hmm.
So this is 1 blue black for an legendary elder wizard to 4. It has vigilance.
Mm.
When it enters or attacks, draw a card, discard a card. And then it has the beginning of your upkeep if there are 14 or more cards in your graveyard. So it's like double threshold.
Hmm.
It transforms into Hades, which I think is kind of cool. And it's a 6/6 vigilance with during your turn you may play cards from your graveyard. And if something would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, it gets exiled. That is sweet, and like this is not that expensive, and in a deck that's dedicated to it,
Hmm.
14 is not that hard to hit.
It's not.
It's, you know, obviously very susceptible to hate,
Hmm.
which is, there's a lot of solid graveyard hate out there. But like this card is priced to move. This is usually cards like these are like weirdly expensive and it's like I'm already kind of happy with a 2/4 vigilance for 3 that loots
Yeah.
in these types of decks. Like that's a win for me. Like blocks all these red creatures and stuff. I'm already there on this one. And then yeah, 14 presumably like I'm thinking some sort of Sultai deck featuring a card that will show up later in our
Hmm.
discussion. Um,
In my.
yeah, I was like in our discussion.
Yeah.
Uh, um, But yeah, I'm into this. This brings me back. It makes me want to go build those old dirtily graveyard Sultai decks
It's
again
cool. It's cool.
because the cost is not that high and the payoff is real. And if they exile your graveyard, like that's fine. I have a 2/4 vigilance like looter, and you're probably a
Yeah.
little behind because you spent a turn exiling my graveyard, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, this card reminds me of that that rare that you called out. What the heck was that called? From the blue rare or mythic that lets you play instants and sorcerers from your graveyard.
Oh, Lear,
Lear,
Disciple
Lear.
of the Drowned.
Yeah. This has a similar vibe to it,
Yeah,
but
make you jump
obviously,
through a few more hoops, but the
yeah,
payoff is very real. Like casting
it's
stuff from
very
your
real.
graveyard is
Also,
insane.
you can use it with counter spells, which Lear you could not. So
Yeah.
that was a big deal with that. But yeah, Emmett Selch definitely a sweet card.
If I
Also,
see
just
this, I'm just gonna take it. Like, I want these. I want these. I'm gonna try not to craft him for this deck. I'm gonna try to
yeah,
pick him up through these drafts.
that's another thing. Like mythics for sure start to weigh a little bit heavier on you, where you're like, well, that mythic there, I
Yeah.
might need that. But anyway, I think as far as like our no pass list, there are a couple other cards that I kind of have my eye on, but I am excited to get to our pack zero pick one. So are we ready to just
Oof.
move on?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. So, um, every pregame before we've played the set, we like to talk about,
Well, for
or
some of
we,
us.
I picked my cards before I played. I told you that. I did this specifically so that we wouldn't have to have issues that we've had in the past.
Just
But
saying, if you win, there's an asterisk. That's all.
I no, because I said this. I told you last week I was going to do this. Come on, Jeff. Come on.
All right, I trust you. I
All right.
trust.
Thank you. Thank you. Um,
Unless I
so
lose,
well, I,
which
I
I
don't.
always seem to. So
That's not true. You just won the last one, Jeff.
that's
Don't
true.
try to make this like everybody should be on your side or whatever.
I'm working
No,
on it.
no. Like they should be on my side because I'm losing right now for the
Hmm.
year. I guess we're tied for the year because I won Aether Drift.
Yeah, yeah.
Um.
Yeah, but you won
Anyway,
by so much more than I won last week that I
that's
think
true. I
you're
was very
slightly
very
ahead.
close. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the Pack Zero Pick One challenge is I said this before, but MTG Data Science does this thing. You can go on their Blue Sky and Twitter. You can find the actual Google form to fill out, and I highly recommend that you do. And basically, it's just a fun game to try to pick what the best cards are before you actually get to play the set. So we're talking about commons and then one uncommon. So it's 7 cards total. It's the 5 best commons of each color, a
Hmm.
non monocolored card that's a common, which usually is like a land or an artifact, and then a miscellaneous common that could be any color, whatever else you have left. And then you have to pick the best gold signpost uncommon, and then we always pick a tiebreaker rare just in case there's a tie, but rarely there is a tie. And we were talking about the best commons. We're talking about in17lands.com, which is a website that can track all of your information for arena stuff if you're interested. There's a ton of data over there. And we're looking at the metric game in hand win rate, which is
Yeah.
what the Magic players, we all kind of not assume, but use as the best, the most winningest cards.
Yeah,
And
sort of agreed upon that
yeah,
that's
agreed upon.
yeah.
That's what it is. So, Jeff, I believe I started last time. So I think it's your time. We snake through this. We start with white all the way down to our tiebreaker rare. Jeff, what is going to be the best white common of Final Fantasy?
Okay, I think I went with a slightly spicy one here, but
Okay, I'm excited.
normally for these I just pick the enchantment that exiles something.
Mm-hmm.
And we have that, it's an artifact, and it's a nice one. I can actually go with that. So, for my choice this time, probably just because I'm tired of picking the enchantments or artifact that exiles and then being wrong. Um, I'm going with Weapons Vendor.
Oh, yes. Okay. All right.
So, Weapons Vendor is 3 and a white for a 2/2 human artificer. When it enters, draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
Interested. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control an equipment, you may pay 1. When you do, attach target equipment you control to target creature you control. So that's why I think it's a little spicy because this
Mm-hmm.
requires the equipment thing to be at least decent.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not that far behind on 3 and a white for a 2/2 draw card. Like that should
Mm-hmm.
cost 3, not
Yes.
4.
Not four.
But so the question is this ability worth 1 mana? And so I'm kind of gambling that not only is it worth 1 mana, it's strong.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going a little bit out of on a limb here. I could have made an easier pick, but I was feeling it in the moment. I read the card. I was like, I dig that. And I just have a bias for Boros in draft these days,
It's
apparently.
true.
So
You
I just
do.
want Boros to be good. So let's
I
get it. I'm throwing Weapons Vendor in there.
I love that you picked Weapons Vendor because it was also on my short list of comments that I was going to pick. I didn't go with the spicy one for white because, I mean, you're right. White Auracite is like so tempting. It's like 2 white for an artifact that is a mana rock that also, exiles a non-land permanent.
Yeah.
I thought that the conversation we were going to be having was between that and the card I picked, which is Fate of the Suncrest, which is the other
Mm,
removal spell,
yeah.
which is 4 and a white for an instant, destroy target non-land permanent. But it says this spell costs 2 less to cast if it targets a tapped creature. And I am coming into this thinking that the set is not going to be fast. I don't think that the aggressive cards are going to be very strong. And I think that you're going to have to answer late game threats. And you want to answer them forever, where white aura sight could be fucked with. And I think that just getting it off the board is going to be more important. And this is a 3 mana removal spell if somebody is trying to attack you very aggressively. So I think it's going to be more important. I, but I, that's kind of my whole mindset coming into this is that I think a slower decks are going to rule, and so you'll want this type of card.
Yeah, I also have some commentary around white aura sight that I was going to bring up when we talked about our red picks.
Okay,
But
I'm very excited. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so sure. We can definitely do that.
yeah.
But we are quickly moving into probably my spiciest pick, going into blue.
Oh, interesting. This was my safest pick, though I thought
Okay.
this one was easy for me. So,
There are some banger cards. And banger cards as far as like there are a couple that really caught my eye that seemed like, oh, these look like slam dunk, great limited cards. Two in particular that were like awesome. But there's another one that caught my eye, and I started thinking more and more about what I just said, which is kind of getting into the late game, doing uh, doing things that I think the entire format is going to be about synergy, making sure you can make it to the late game and hit the pieces that you want in your deck and make sure that you get them together. You want to. I think that you're going to be wanting to try to combine cards. That's going to be a lot of the format, and so
okay.
I decided that this is the spicy one. I think Dreams of Laguna is going to be one of the best blue commons. Which Dreams of Laguna is one in a blue for an instant, a common. You surveil one, then draw a card, and then it has flashback for 4.
Okay. So super
So
think twice.
super think twice, a little bit more expensive, but this card goes in like the blue black control decks. It goes in blue red spells for sure because the first time you cast it, it it can trigger any of your wizards that you have. But then the second time you cast it for flashback, it is 4, which does trigger all your 4 mana non-creature spell stuff if that happens to
Mm,
do anything. I don't know if the decks are going to be revolving around that, but I think there will be some incidental help. And this is one of the
yeah.
cards that will facilitate that. But being able to turn to, I think you're going to be able to turn to surveil, draw a card, look for the pieces that you need to figure out what you need to do.
Yeah. And if your thesis is right that this is a slower format, this is a strong card without synergy in a slower format.
Yes.
Yeah.
So as opposed to there's a couple raw, powerful blue cards that I did
Yeah.
not pick. So I'm excited to hear what you think and what you picked.
Okay, I picked Dragoon's Wyvern,
Yes,
and I was between Dragoon's Wyvern and Ice Magic.
those are the cards I
And
was talking about. Yeah.
yeah. And then I was like, I'm just gonna pick the creature. So Dragoon's Wyvern is a 3 mana 2/1 flyer. When it enters, you get a 1/1 hero creature token. Um, and we've seen these all the time. They're often the best blue common cards that look like this. So
Yes.
it's just a lot of rate on a card for limited, and so I just went with rate on this one. Maybe I was coming off a slightly spicy white pick, and I was like, oh, I gotta play it safe for this
Pull it
one.
back.
I
And I
saw
felt,
Dragoon's Wyvern, and I was like, yeah, that seems like the
see,
one.
Jeff, I felt the exact opposite because I picked what felt like such a safe white card that I wanted to spice it up with the blue ones. But I
Yeah,
think Dragoon's Wyvern was like the next one because we had this almost exactly this card back in March of the Machine was like the best common of the set. It was a
yeah,
2 mana 2/2 flyer that made a 1/1. And
yeah. It was very similar.
very
And I
similar.
think the 1/1 is more relevant in this set than it was in that one. That was just like, and so that's why this one's a 2/1 maybe. But
Yeah, we'll see exactly what it is. You never. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
okay.
But as far as black commons, Jeff, what were you looking at?
So continuing my trend of alternating between spicy and not spicy, or going fully in the face of it, I went with a non-spicy black pick, and I chose Vane's Treachery. So
Okay.
Vane's Treachery is 1 and a black for an instant. It has kicker, sack an artifact or creature, and it says target creature gets -2/-2 until end of turn. If it was kicked, it gets -6/-6 until end of turn. We've seen this before, but the kicker was for more mana, I think. And no, no, we had exactly this
No,
card.
we had. I think it was -5/-5 instead or something. But
Right. But that was a long time ago, but that was an incredible card in that set. Um, and I think sacrificing is like a thing in this limited format. And so there are going to be, I think this is going to be fine to good in every black deck and just awesome in the one that wants you to sacrifice things.
I,
So
I, I agree. I think this card is definitely strong. My reasoning by what I did, which is different, and I'm very, honestly, I'm kind of mad at myself, but like a lot of my picks were also we had so many picks that were exactly the same in Tarkir
Yeah, yeah.
Dragonstorm that I wanted to make sure that we didn't have the same picks, which is not necessarily the best way to play this game.
I was thinking a little bit like that too, and I was low key worried we were both gonna pick like do that and pick the weapons master or whatever. I was like, no, that would be so random.
So random.
But it's a card Zach would pick.
I was close to picking it, honestly. Um, I decided basically kind of the couple picks that we have in black are Vane's Treachery. I was looking at cards like I do love Hectize because of the Vane's Treachery thing. Having a two
Yeah.
mana 1/1 that makes your opponent discard a card and then being the perfect fodder. It can be a like extremely strong card. In Foundations, we had the exact same card, very strong. I did
Yeah.
not pick that card.
I was eyeing Hectize, get it? Because this just looks like the type of card that randomly becomes the best black common, and it's because it just goes in every black deck, and like you want to sacrifice it because you already got your value out of it. And
Well, it's basically like a 2 mana 1/1 that draws a card because it forces your opponent to have less cards than you.
right, it's sort of it's the black version of Elvish Visionary.
Yes,
It has the downside of like in the late game it's not good, whereas Elvish Visionary is a redraw. This is like usually nothing,
exactly.
but so it's a little worse. But yeah, it generally plays the same.
Yeah. But I decided against Hectize, and I went with a boring pick, and I just took Sephiroth's Intervention, which is the 4 mana instant, destroy target creature, you gain 2 life. It's just a more expensive murder. And if anyone's confused why like the white card that removes stuff costs 4 mana, the black card that removes stuff costs 4 mana, it's because there's a archetype that cares about spending four
Right.
mana on spells. I'm basically hedging my bet that like destroying anything is going to be more important than destroying something small and then maybe destroying something big with having to
Yeah.
sacrifice stuff.
I feel
Because I
like we
think the
keep
format's going
going
to be
back and
slower.
forth with every set on like who's picking the small removal and who's
Yes.
picking the murder
I mean,
equivalent.
the thing is that's a lot of what this game is trying to figure out what the speed of the format is going to be because oftentimes you like the cards are relatively the same, but
Yeah.
you're kind of just guessing what the speed is. And so this time I decided I was going to just try to stick with one idea and keep that through most of everything and see if that worked out. But I don't know. We'll find out. Jeff, we're
But
moving
I'm
on.
interested to hear about your red pick.
Yeah. So my red pick. Well, I think I know what you picked, but I decided to pick a different card, a card that scales because I picked Thunder Magic. So Thunder Magic is a single red for an instant. It's tiered, so it has uh, different kicker costs depending on how you decide to play the spell. You can spend 0 to deal 2 damage to target creature. You can spend 3 extra mana, so 4 mana total, to deal 4 damage to target creature, or you can spend 7 mana total to deal 8 damage to target creature. This is similar to Ice Magic, which we didn't really talk about, was one of the picks, where you get to kill something early or medium or late, depending on how the game goes. I think this is pretty good. It's a little bit cheaper than Ice Magic, and it also does just kill stuff. So
Yeah.
I just think Thunder Magic is the one I was most excited to see, and I just like it a lot.
Yeah, I was between Thunder Magic and the card that I picked, which is Suplex. So for people who don't know Suplex, it's exile a braid. So it's a braid, but it exiles.
Oh,
And
but one big but. It's a sorcery. Yeah, it's a sorcery.
Okay. I was like, did I miss something? Yes, I forgot. A braid is an instant. Yeah, so Suplex is 1 in red for a sorcery. It deals 3 damage to target creature. If it would choose one, it deals 3 damage to target creature. If that creature would die this turn, exile instead. Or you exile an artifact. Artifacts are a thing in this set.
Hmm.
And so Braid usually shows up in the uncommon slots in these types of
Oh,
sets
true,
where
true.
artifacts matter. And so maybe that means that the format is slow because they're willing to give you a Braid at common.
Hmm.
Or maybe it means like this is necessary because like red just needs a way to deal with some of these artifacts. And so,
Yeah.
they need to give people access to this. So I'm kind of gambling on that second one. And it's what I was alluding to with White Orosite. With this at common, I'm a lot less interested in that
Hmm.
removal spell because people are just going to have, like, normally it's not easy to get an artifact off the battlefield for a limited deck. Um, but with this card flying around, like, yeah, it is easy now for
Hmm.
any red deck to just get rid of it. And I've seen a few other cards that are totally playable in other colors that like just instantly
Yeah.
could pick it off. So that's why I was not super high on that one. And I think Suplex is just a great card. If you're interested at all in dealing 3 damage, then I'm into it. And so if you, this is kind of like the defining pick here. Like if you're right
Hmm.
that the format is slow, then Thunder Magic for sure is going to be better. But if I'm right that some of these slower to the ground and like
Hmm.
especially the equipment decks and stuff are good, then I think Suplex is going to be better.
I do think this card's pretty interesting because it does, with all the job select cards, it kind of says, do you want to destroy the job thing or do you want to destroy the hero? And
Right.
most of the time you get the choice that, because dealing 3 damage I think it kills most of the heroes that are holding the weapon.
Yeah.
Like a few, most of them deal, like you get extra power or whatever. So
Right. Rather than toughness.
yeah, there aren't a ton of like big toughness ones. I think 3 is a very common toughness for those cards. So you do get the choice, and so if that deck ends up being really important, this card could be great to deal with it on multiple axes, whichever way you would like to go. But I'm thinking not so much. But who knows? I really don't know. That's what's so fun about this game, and I love this game.
Yeah.
All
We're
right,
probably
Jeff.
both wrong.
It's
That's
true.
the reality.
It's true. All right, Jeff. I'm really excited to hear what your green card is because, I mean, you alluded to it earlier. So,
Yeah, I did allude to this. So I am picking it.
hmm.
And this is the one I'm actually mad at you for not telling me about. I can't believe you didn't tell me about this. Um, but my favorite card, possibly of all time, I think when we first started this podcast,
Hmm.
we had some segment about favorite cards,
We did.
maybe in like episode 2 or 3. And I said my favorite card was Satyr Wayfinder. And we now have a new and improved Satyr Wayfinder, which
Hmm.
I've been waiting for forever. They keep giving crappy versions of it that like only look at 3 cards and they think it's okay to just give me a counter, +1/+1 counter or something. It's just nonsense. It's not why I'm interested in the card. And so finally, we have 4 card Satyr
Hmm.
Wayfinder. This was a no-brainer. Easiest pick of my life. My green choice is Town Greeter.
Hmm.
1 and a green. Human Citizen. 1/1. When it enters mill 4 cards, you may put a land card from among them into your hand. If that land is a town card, you gain 2 life. They even gave a little
Hmm.
extra on there. Didn't need it, but I'm happy with that. Um, Love it. I've been waiting for this card for so long, and it's here. I
It
could
is
play
here.
Satyr Wayfinder in Standard again.
It's true. It's true.
Like a load
Jeff.
off my chest, you know? I've just been like, why don't they give it to me? It's not overpowered. And
Yeah, and
they
they even
finally
added a
did.
little extra. So there you go.
Yeah.
Also, it's a human, if that matters. There are a couple
Yeah,
cards
the
that do
creature
too.
types are, if anything, more relevant. And
Yeah, than
Satyr
Seder.
Wayfinders were completely irrelevant. So,
Hmm.
like, it's possible this matters.
I will say that this card did catch my eye, and I also picked this as my best green card. So, um,
Yeah.
I as far as like the other choices for green, because you kind of just gave a glowing review for Town Greeter.
Yeah.
The other green ones are kind of like you could take like the fight spell, but it's a sorcery.
Yeah. It's the
Chocobo Kick is
usual, like, green options.
yeah. Chocobo Kick is interesting. It's 1 in the green for a sorcery. Target creature deals you control deals combat damage. Sorry. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls, and then you can kick it by returning a land you control to your hand, and then you deal double damage instead, which all the chocobos have landfall, so picking up a land could be helpful to then play it again. And if you happen to have one of the adventure lands, you might be able to cast that card. So there's a little synergy in there, but I think the sorcery really kills that card.
Yeah.
The fight spells at sorcery speed really underperform.
And it's so rare that you need twice the damage. Like, it's just overkill. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and I think it will be like it's definitely a card that it will be like you will be happy to have in your deck. But I
oh,
think
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the turn two town greeter just there's so much graveyard
Oh,
stuff going on in this set. There's like flashback and there's so many cards that care about having a bunch of cards in your graveyard. I don't know. I just think it's just going to be way better and making sure you hit your land drops. The town deck likes it. I don't know. There's so many good things to say about town
yeah.
greeter that there's no way that I just I wanted to
And
make it
when the metric is game in hand win rate, like cards like these that just make every game
every deck. Yeah,
playable,
it's
like
smooth. You
yeah,
know.
it just smooths out games. They tend to do really well in that metric. So
Hmm.
like even if this wasn't essentially an improved version of one of my all-time favorite cards, like it is just a great limited card.
It's
It's
a
a
great
two
limited
mana
card.
1/1 that draws a card, but like plus 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 on top of
Hmm.
that.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
it's
It's
yeah, for sure.
the one green common I thought of you when I saw it and wanted to hear your thoughts on are the
Hmm.
T-Rexor. So how do we feel
Okay.
about the T-Rexor? Because you're my resident expert on big green commons that gain life when they ETB. So
Okay. So we have a card called Balam T Rexor. It's 4 green for a 6/6 dinosaur. It has trample. It says when this creature enters, you gain 3 life. And it also has forest cycling. Okay. This is so hard because basically this entire thing that we're talking about was birthed from Honey Mammoth from like Ikoria, I think. And Honey Mammoth was like a 6 mana 6/6 that gained 4 life, but it didn't have trample. And so we're constantly going back and forth between it's a 6 mana 6/6 with trample, like a Dreadmaw, a Colossal Dreadmaw, but like doesn't gain you life, and maybe it has reach this time, or maybe it does like we had one in Aether Drift that cycled that was really good. And so it gets really hard when you're starting to find all these things.
by the way, may
I
Colossal Dreadmaw rest in peace, because holy shit. This
Yeah,
is
this is Colossal Dreadmaw, but there's 2 extra abilities on it, like
at common.
a common. Like this is literally Colossal Dreadmaw, but better, like just
It's
strictly
way
better.
better.
Yeah, it's even a dinosaur and everything. Like there's
Yeah,
nothing
there's
worse about this card.
strictly better gets overused. This is strictly better
This
though.
is strictly better. I will say the one thing Colossal Dreadmaw had going for it was the meme quality that
Yeah, yeah.
they
This not
reprinted.
yet. Maybe
Yeah,
this will have
it's
equivalent meme quality. But
perhaps.
yeah.
I will say I used to be a lot more excited by the land cyclers. I think I'm much lower on them after the last few years, or few years. We've had them in a couple sets
Yeah.
where they really tanked them. But this being an early play and a late game threat that does have to be answered because it gains you life and it has trample and it's big. There's also a little bit of graveyardy stuff, but that's not as important. I think this one of the land ones I do think is playable. I don't think it's going to be the best common. It's not to the same caliber, perhaps, but I think reach goes a long way if you're trying to stabilize the board from an aggressive deck.
Yeah.
And so the fact that you don't get that reach, like gaining life and gaining reach, like really gums up the board. So this doesn't have
And
that.
three is not that much either, right? So it's like, I
Yeah,
think
three's.
basically what you're saying, if I'm understanding correctly, is like this is almost an aggressive creature
Hmm.
in the slot of like the catch up creature.
Yeah.
And it's like they kind of clash, right? Like the honey
Hmm.
mammoth was a great blocker and it gained
Hmm.
a little more life and
Yes.
that's why it was so good. And this is more like I want to attack with this thing. It has
Yeah.
trample. But So it has to be a very specific thing where the three life matter. I have to be kind of racing or whatever.
Yeah,
And
I that's exactly what I'm trying to say. And um, the biggest thing is that the one we had for Aether Drift had cycling, which just draws you a card just straight up, which could be helpful in a bunch of different ways.
yeah,
Forest cycling specifically gives it a little bit of a knock because green decks, when you're playing a green deck that wants to be playing other colors, you want to be base green and you want to find
yeah,
your other colors. And so
right.
rarely are you looking for forests. That I think
It's
that's
kind of
kind of the
interesting
case.
that forest cycling is the worst land cycling ability,
Yeah,
right? Because like when you're trying to do the thing, you want you want to be green and you want to cycle for your other lands.
exactly. And so we had one in MKM that had basic land cycling, but you had to pay green to do it. That was a lot
Right.
better because you got to fix yourself. This doesn't fix
Yeah.
you. This just gets you more green to play these, I guess. So that's
Well,
why I
it's a
wasn't.
different thing. Like in that deck,
Mhm.
if you don't have the green lands, you need to cast everything, which
That's
is
true.
unlikely. This kind of saves you, but
Hmm.
it's a totally different thing. It's not
It
like
is.
helping you splash. It's kind of saving you in the weird scenario where you didn't draw any
Yeah.
forests, but somehow kept the hand.
Yeah. You just, well, I guess you, yeah, you look at your hand, you're like, well, there's two islands and I have this. So I
And
guess,
this, yeah.
and
So
I'm playing the town deck, I guess, or something. I'm not
so
sure.
it's
But
just a more specific thing.
which, like, so look at that card in that situation in your opening hand, or look at you like play an even split and you're playing town greeter and you're like, well, I have green, green,
Right.
nothing. I play town greeter. I go find, I get four cards off the top. I find my
Oh,
color. It does the same
Town
thing,
Greeter is
but
so good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the late game strength that this card does, but I think we're happier with Town Greeter being our two drop for sure. Yeah, but definitely a good conversation. I'm glad you were asking about it because it is one of the ones that I think is quite cool. Let's go to our non-monocolored common.
Let's hear
This
it.
is one of the hardest ones to pick because and I'm glad they added this. There was a period of time where it was two miscellaneous cards, and recently they've been adding this non-monocolored because it's such a hard category to pick. It's like a bunch of junky artifacts and then like a bunch of lands that you like
Yeah.
know are probably not going to be the best, but or one of them's going to be the best, and it's a specific color pair, or it's just like really hard to know. So I decided to take a fucking shot, and here we go, buddy. This is the biggest shot I'm taking the entire,
Okay. Let's hear it.
maybe the biggest shot I've ever taken. Like literally, this is the biggest shot I've ever taken in any of our Pack Zero Pick ones.
Well, let's hear it. I'm excited now.
I picked Blitzball. So
Okay. Is that because you just started playing Final Fantasy X?
no, it's because I wanted to take the biggest shot because it's a Blitzball.
Oh, now I get it. You're
Anyway,
hoping for a
yeah, exactly.
goal.
Yeah, that's the plan. So this is a Manalith. It's a 3 mana artifact that taps for any color, but it does have the activated ability that's Goal. You can sacrifice this artifact. It says draw 2 cards. Sacrifice this artifact, draw 2 cards. Amazing. There is a little bit more text though. It does say that you can only activate it if an opponent was dealt combat damage by a legendary creature this turn. I will say there are a fuck ton of legendary creatures. There's so many. Like every single gold card is like a legendary creature. Like all of them. It's crazy. So there's like a ton of monocolored legends. All the gold
So
cards are
many.
legends
Yeah.
that and going with the thing I was talking about where I was saying that hitting your land drops or getting to the late game is important. Blitzball will help you do that. And then once you're in the late game, Blitzball helps you draw gas to continue the game. Because I'm assuming you're going to have enough legendary creatures that one of them will get through. You'll sacrifice this. Draw 2 cards. That's awesome. I it I I just think that it leads all to the I don't see why Wizards would give us a bunch of legendary creatures or a bunch of rares that 6 mana, 8 mana flip into other things if they weren't able to be used in draft. I just don't really see why that would be possible. It
Right.
easily could happen because maybe we're right or you're right. Maybe it is like you can get just run over by these like job select cards, and all of the flip versions of cards don't matter in draft. They only matter for commander or whatever.
Mhm.
That is possible. I'm erring on the side that I think that they're going to be worth it. I think that some of those flip cards are really powerful and they will be good in draft. So Blitzball is a card we will be happy to have, and it helps you splash. So,
Yeah.
um,
I was looking at Blitzball, but this is another pick where we went different ways, and
mhm.
we picked. Depends which way the format lands, because I picked Monk's Fist. So
Whoa. Okay.
yeah, let's see it. So Monk's Fist is a 2 mana artifact equipment with job select, which means it creates a 1/1 hero, and then you attach this. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and is a monk, and it's an equip 2. I'm kind of thinking of this as like a 2 mana 2/1 that goes in any deck that draws like half a card. It's kind of the thing, because
Right.
this sticks around and can
Hmm.
bump
Other
other
people.
stuff
Hmm.
later. So like 2 mana 2/1, that's below par. You don't
Hmm.
want to play that. If you're attacking though and artifacts matter, then
Hmm.
you're all of a sudden somewhat interested in this.
That's true.
Um, so I took a shot, but I took a shot on the other end of the spectrum, which is essentially that like
Punch, punch,
Boros
punch.
equipment or
Hmm.
is good.
Or even just
Um,
like white blue artifact stuff, because
right, and
like,
that's the other thing. Like I think it's supposed to go in like the Boros get you
hmm,
dead equipment deck, but it has value in anything that wants artifacts.
hmm.
Um, as just an early creature, and that is also an artifact and that sticks around and stuff. So
I I love that pick, honestly, buddy. I'm so happy that you picked Monk's Fist because that was not even on my radar like at all. So, and that's my
I'm
favorite
with
thing.
you that I don't like this category is always the one where I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Hmm.
But I was like, you know what? I saw this card and I was like, let's just go with Monk's Fist. I'm into it. And
Because,
I it's almost like I want the format to play this way where I was like,
hmm,
oh, am I choosing for what I think or for what I want? And I was like, you know what? I can't possibly really predict what the format's going to be like.
it's
So
so hard.
let's just have some fun.
Yeah, and take a shot. Like I love the taking a shot. Like I was looking at Crossroads Village and any of the like the tap
Yeah, that
towns,
was my
but like,
initial instinct was like just pick the land that you think
hmm,
is in the best color pair or something, like
because like I think honestly the best town is probably the green blue one if because then the town deck wants to have it, but also if the town deck's horrible, then it's going to be the worst. So I don't know, and like I went through the whole ringer, you know.
yeah.
These
And I was like,
were
I just didn't want to pick a land. I was like, I don't want to
yeah.
pick a land again.
We picked Evolving Wilds last time, so wanted to
Yeah.
pick something else. All right, well, Jeff, what was your miscellaneous card then?
Um, so the miscellaneous means we get to choose
Any
any common.
any common?
Um, and I don't know, I just went with Ice Magic. So
Okay, all right.
thought that was like one of the strongest cards still remaining after choosing the best common from each color. I was basically between Ice Magic and Fire Magic, and I was like, I'm gonna do Ice Magic.
Yeah, you
Or
mean
Thunder
Thunder
Magic, I
Thunder
mean,
Magic?
sorry. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Thunder
because
Magic.
Fire Magic is a uncommon card.
I chose this rare actually.
Yeah. No, I think. Do you want to read Ice Magic just because we've talked about it a little
Oh
bit, but we
yeah,
haven't
that's
actually
true.
read
I
it.
mentioned it as I was
Contender.
thinking about that over the Wyvern, but I didn't end up choosing it, so I will read it. Ice Magic is 1 and a blue for an instant. It is tiered,
Hmm.
which means you get to choose which um, additional cost you pay. Blizzard is 0, return target creature to its owner's hand. Blizzara is an extra 2. Target creature's owner puts it on top or bottom of their library. And Blizzaga is 5 and a blue extra. Target creature's owner shuffles it into their library. So this card is interesting to me because um, One in a blue instant return to its owner's hand is maybe slightly overcosted, but it's in the realm of stuff we see.
Hmm.
Three in a blue to put it on top or bottom is something we see all the time. That's just appropriately costed. That's just like
Exactly.
what it costs.
Hmm.
And then six and two blue is way overcosted, but it gets rid of the creature entirely. And I just think the
Hmm.
combo of having all these things together
Hmm.
is just going to make a really strong card in what seems to be a relatively strong color to me as
Hmm.
well, which is why I doubled down on blue instead of red. Um, because I think blues just looks like it has some power level to it. So yeah, I went with Ice Magic. I think this card seems really good, um, but I could see it being true that I should have picked Thunder Magic, you know?
Hmm. Yeah, I think I was really close to picking Ice Magic, and I think that blue might be one of my biggest blunders. We'll have to see as I took a huge shot. But yeah, I think Ice Magic does all the things that you would want. The tiered spells are so sweet. I like them all
Yeah.
for different reasons, but my miscellaneous card, I went back and forth between two things, but I ended up picking a red card. And
Mm,
I picked a card that I want to be really good, and I want that deck to be really good, and is not
classic.
what I've been preaching this whole episode.
Oh,
So
interesting.
I preached it for a little bit at the beginning, but then I stopped preaching. I picked Mysidian Elder, which is two in a red for a 1/3 creature human wizard. It says when it enters, you create a 0/1 black wizard creature token with whenever you cast a non creature spell. It deals 1 damage to each opponent.
Yeah.
This card and this archetype, this Rakdos archetype of make a bunch of wizards and just play job select cards or play removal spells and kill your opponent non combat damage, but quickly, is something I think could be very strong. Where this is one of the creatures in your deck that you'll be able to play, but a lot of them are just kind of like non creature spells that make tokens that do this, and you play more non creature spells. This blocks well enough, and you just ping your opponent to death by killing their creatures, and that's the plan. And it
Honestly, if
just
this was like a 2/3, it'd be a no-brainer.
mm-hmm.
As like maybe the best red common. At 2/2, I think I would have been a lot more interested. I think the 1/3 stat line is what threw me on this
is what
card.
throws you off. Yeah, I can definitely see that, but I think that those decks will want to have a because they make 0/1s. I don't know how much attacking they're really doing, and I think that they want to be able to block 2 power creatures because I think
Yeah,
that Monk's Fist is going to
but I
be a
want to
really
trade
powerful
with them.
card, and
That's
I
kind of like
think
I'd
that
prefer to trade than to just bounce. But
no, it's true, it's true. But like, if you can eat, I can eat so many Monk's Fist with this card. I can eat so many, so many 2/1s die to this card.
God damn it, I'm not consistent. If I think
Yeah,
Monk's Fist is good, then I have to think this card is good.
exactly.
Monk's Fist is
But
going to help things punch through this card. Is the problem because like your 2/2s now punch through this.
that's true. Once they die from this, then you get to add this. Yeah, the Monk's Fist is
From the
something else.
format All-Star Monk's Fist. It's
Exactly. But I think my City and Elder, I just have a feeling that it can do some work.
it's a good card. I think the 1/3 is literally the only.
That
If this was a 2/2, I probably would have been like, ooh, there's a good
yeah.
pick for best red common.
But I think the 1/3 almost makes it seem like you don't want to just trying to tell people don't be aggressive with the stick.
I know.
You
I
want
just
to
don't
sit
want it to
back.
bounce. Like I want to take something that they're attacking with off the table. Happy to trade my
True,
thing
true.
for
Of
that
course,
if I
and
get the
leave the
extra
wizard.
body.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say honorable mention goes to Summon Choco Mog, which is a 3 mana 3/3 white card that gives all your creatures +0/+1. Sorry, +1/+0 until end of turn. As a common anthem,
Yeah.
has 4 chapters. I thought that if there's an aggressive deck, that seems exciting to me. But I just didn't think aggressive decks were going to be that great, so that card ended up being not a card I picked. But Um, I
So
just
what
wanted
was
to
your
say something.
signpost?
All right. I actually think we have the same signpost card. I think there's a possibility that we do. Just because I decided to pick power,
Okay.
just raw power, and
It's sounding like we might have the same one.
I picked a card that looked like, I mean, okay, so there's a lot of good signpost uncommons. But there's a card just because it's in a color combination that Jeff and I like, and it just does things that we would normally like to do. I picked Lock Coal, which by the look on your face, I can't really tell. You're either holding it really well or not. But Lock Coal is one blue black for a 2/3 legendary creature, human rogue at uncommon. It has Death Touch and Lifelink. And it says whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card. That just seems like power on a card. It does a lot of stuff, and it trades with something. You're gaining life. If they don't block, you draw cards. You get to fill your graveyard for a blue black deck that wants to do all those things. It just seems great.
Yeah, so I was between Lock Coal and Cloud of Darkness. Because Cloud of
Yes.
Darkness is like Chupacabra Echo kind of
It's,
thing,
yeah.
but it's a 5 mana 3/3 flyer. And then I was like, Lock Coal is just insane though for 3 mana. Like it's just so ridiculous. So I ended up on Lock Coal. I wonder if like I was kind of like maybe green black is it's more on theme for what it's doing, and then I was like, no, that's the wrong way to think about it. Just take the card that is just ridiculous power level for limited. And like a 2/3 death touch and lifelink. I know it doesn't have curiosity, but this ability is almost curiosity in limited. Like I think
Yeah.
people don't realize that looting is almost as good as drawing a card in
It
limited. Like
is. Like, also, it's almost better just because you want to put cards in your graveyard if you have other graveyard
right in this
synergies.
set, yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought this one was actually weirdly one of my easier choices because I was just reading them through and I was like, oh yeah, Cloud of Darkness is pretty good. And then I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. And then I got to Lockcoal and I was like, what? That's fucking stupid. I'm gonna pick
Yeah.
that one.
And this is like creatures that are in blue black that like draw a card, discard a card when they hit your opponent is just one of our favorite things. So I just immediately knew. I was like, Jeff's gonna pick this card. I know it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick it too.
And you know my love of 2/3s.
Yes, exactly. So the 3 and a 2/3.
2/3
So
Death
good.
Touch too. Like I love when Death Touch is relevant on instead of it's like a 6/7 Death Touch. I'm like, fuck
Like,
off.
great.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What a waste of text. But yeah, and the life like you just don't want to block this thing,
No.
but you do want to block it.
You got to
You
get it
know?
off the board somehow, which is one of my favorite things about Death Touch is like it's going to trade with a card. So,
And just saying, Suplex looking pretty good.
that's
Pretty
true.
good.
Yes. Thunder Magic does not kill this card. You're right. But you have to sacrifice an extra card to kill it with the Veins Treachery. So, there is
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
But
That's
I'm
true.
spending more mana to kill it with Sephiroth's intervention. But this seemed like the easiest one. All the other cards seem very synergistic based. Like you need
Ex
other things going on, right?
Right, which is kind of what I was saying, right? I was like, I like Cloud of Darkness. Then I was like, wait, Lockhole is just really fucking good. I'm just gonna do it's almost like a safer pick. All the other ones are like, if you're doing your thing, they're
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
But if you're
Exactly.
not doing your thing, they're kind of whatever.
And I think
And
blue black needs some of that because a lot of their great stuff is late game, and so they need something strong early. That's just like we're great.
yeah,
We will help you find the cards you need, or trade with the thing that you don't want to deal with, or whatever. So, great card. Love Lock Cole, man.
yeah.
Jeff, what is your tiebreaker rare for this?
Okay, this was another one where I was just kind of like, there's a lot of rares to parse. This one doesn't matter that much. And I was just kind of scrolling up and down. And something caught my eye, and I read it, and I was like, yeah, fucking that. And so I picked Buster Sword.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Buster Sword is a 3 mana equipment.
Oh, wait,
Equipped cre
Jeff.
Yeah.
We can talk about Buster Sword, but that's a mythic. I thought we were talking about rares.
Oh shit. Oh, I need to pick a new one. Let's talk about Buster Sword for a second,
Let's talk
because
about Buster Sword though. Let's talk about it.
I should have filtered only for rares. Uh, Equipped creature gets +3/+2 when it deals combat damage to a player. Draw a card, then you may cast a spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to that damage without paying its mana cost. Equip 2. This card is complete nonsense in limited,
It's
and
busted sword.
yeah,
It is.
you're gonna want your suplexes for this thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can confirm that this is a very busted card because I did have this card when I
of
drafted.
course you did. Of course you did. Why am I not
I
surprised?
opened it in my second pack and I was just like, okay, this goes in whatever I'm doing right now. Doesn't matter. I'm playing like this. Okay, while you're looking at cards, Jeff, I'm just going to tell you a little
Yeah.
story. I'm so angry about last episode because we were literally talking about how I'm a fucking blue player and I hate it and it's not fair and I don't want to be a blue player. Literally
Uh-huh.
go to draft this freaking set and I end up in blue green like always. Somehow I end up in blue
Classic.
green because
I
nobody's
even
playing
said
it.
you're a Simic
I
guy.
know. So I was basically playing like blue green big stuff with a Buster Sword, and that was like the plan. It was just like, all right, I'm literally playing T-Rexes and putting the Buster Sword on the T-Rexes and dealing trample damage with like playing 8 drops from my hand with this thing. It was crazy. I didn't win the draft, but I went 2-1. So, and Buster Sword helped a lot.
Yeah, I mean, this card just seems like pretty much unbeatable.
It's
If
it
if you get it down early, like
yeah.
I just don't know how you're beating it. Okay, so all right, I've made a hasty decision. I forgot about choosing Mythic Rare.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna go with Dion, Bahamut's Dominant. 3 and a white for a 3/3 legendary creature, human noble knight. It says during your turn, it and other knights you control have flying. When it enters, create a 2/2 white knight creature token. So we're talking 3/3 plus 2/2 flying.
4 mana.
I'm already super into that. Then it says 4 white, white, exile it, return to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. And it turns into Bahamut Warden of Light, which is one of these saga creatures, which is a 5/5 flyer. And the first 2 chapters are put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control, and they gain flying until end of turn. And then, in case you hadn't won the game yet, the third chapter is destroy target permanent and then flip it back, and you get your knight again, and you get to do this whole thing again. This card, you know, I'm partially choosing it because it's early on in the order here, because
Hmm.
I didn't have a lot of time to read new cards. But when I got to this one, I was like, I think that's enough for me to just say this card is ridiculous, stupid, and silly. And I'm excited to never see this card and lose to it often.
I think you made an amazing choice because that's exactly what I picked. That's the best rare of this set. Holy shit, that card's
What
so
an
good.
outrageous rare. So
Yeah.
there's no tie breaking happening here.
There is no we are going to be extremely tight because Dion is going to be the bane of your existence. Like this is a card that says, "Hey, I don't like fuck everybody for trying to play anything more than this." Like
Yeah. Why did you have other cards in your deck?
yeah, you just need like this 4 mana card. Like this is the your curve topper. This destroys people. And there's also just like I'm sure
And
a
it's not
bunch
even
of
like that high up the curve, man.
no, it's 4. Like that's
Yeah.
this is a set where 8 and 9 mana cards I'm expecting to play because there's so many of them. Like there is just like there's a lot of power in other places. There's a bunch of great like there's some crazy black cards that cost 8 mana, but Dion's just like die.
Yeah.
Like even if you just play Dion and it gets killed, there's a 2/2 left over. Like,
Right. Like
come
worst
on.
case scenario.
Worst case scenario, you're like, all right, well, at least I have a 2/2. Like, this card's crazy. So good. Big fan of Dion. I'm going to be singing those praises just basically forever. I think Dion might even be one of the reasons why I want to play Final Fantasy 16, just because it looks so cool. I mean, all of the flip. There's a thing in 16 apparently, which is the most recent Final Fantasy, where all of the characters flip into summons. So, like Bahamut is a summon from Final Fantasy X, so he turns into it. The Clive turns into the Ifrit, which is from 10. I think they're actually all from 10. Jill turns into Shiva, which is also from 10. I'm playing Final Fantasy X, so this is how I know what the summons are. But it's just so funny that like a bunch of these characters just like flip into them. It's pretty sweet. But anyway, fantastic. Well, I'm really happy that we basically didn't pick any of the same cards except for the tiebreaker rare, which is hilarious.
And the gold sign, like right at the end.
Right at the
same
end.
Cards.
Yeah. But
we didn't pick any of the same commons.
That's true, which this game
well,
is
except
all
Town
about
Breeder.
commons.
Never mind.
Okay, we picked 3 of the same cards. All right. Well, it just last time it felt like every single card was the same.
It's true. I feel like last time we picked 3 different cards. This time we picked 3 of the same.
And if it's the same as last time, when we play a sealed event, we're both going to open a Dion. That's going to be great. Yeah.
You're going to get like 2 Dions and a Buster Sword. So.
That's probably what's going to happen. Whenever we played sealed events, I have amazing luck and Jeff has the worst.
I'm going to get Dion, but literally no playable white cards other than that. So.
Yeah.
No,
you'll probably get the fixing for the wrong colors. It'll be like you get Dion and a bunch of like white and white and black and white and blue lands, and all your cards are like blue red or like
just
green red.
It's a gruel pool.
Amazing, great. This sucks.
Yeah, love it.
There's no way I can jam this in here at all. But yeah, great stuff, man. God, I love the Pack Zero Pick One challenge. It is
Pack
so
Zero
much
Pick
fun.
One is awesome.
Yeah. It's like one of my favorite things, and like I don't know. If you get a chance to be able to do this, try to do it before next week. We'll put the link in the show notes so that you can actually play the game. But if you also join our Discord, we will talk about it there a bit as well. Just because it's really fun, and squeezing out as much fun as we can out of Magic is obviously the best thing we can do. But taking a shot on a card and then being right about it, it's so
there's nothing better.
So good.
And it's so funny because when I'm making my picks, I'm like taking it so seriously, and I'm like, oh man, this is a tough one. Like between this and this, what do I do? And then later, I'm like, well, I was wrong. How the fuck was I supposed to guess that? I don't know. Like it just doesn't matter when you're wrong, but when you're right, you're like,
yes, yeah,
one for 50, baby.
Exactly. Like, fuck yeah. It does feel very good. So anyway, great game. Highly recommend. But Jeff, are you ready to go to last call?
Sure am.
All right. So during last call, we always rate our beers. And so tonight we are rating our extra special bitter, Brockton bitter. But we have a rating system. It is the tiers in Arena. So we rate all of our beers on a scale from bronze to mythic, which is lots of fun, but it has nothing to do with what tier you are in currently. This is just a fun way to rate beer. So don't feel bad when we say that bronze beers are trash. They're horrible. You spit them out, you pour them on the ground, and they're disgusting.
Silver beers are just bad or boring, so macro brews find themselves here.
Gold beers are fine, but you won't really drink them again.
Platinum are solid, and you would drink it again.
Diamond beers are exceptional. You like them a lot, and you share them with your friends.
Mythic, these are the best of the best. These are the Dions of the beer world.
Yeah, that's right. Dion, the rare that turns into a mythic somehow.
Yeah. I guess Buster Sword, because it's actually a mythic.
It's true. All All right, Jeff, I want to hear your thoughts on this Brockton bitter. Where did it stack up with other beers, but also other ESBs that you've had?
Uh, I really enjoyed this.
Hmm.
So to me, this hit on what an ESB should be, which is like we were talking at this, the top of the show. It should be about the body. It should be about the beer
Hmm.
itself and not about bells and whistles that go on top of it. And I thought they did a great job, like that little bitterness that comes out from just the body rather than throwing bitters on top of it. It tasted really great. The one like nitpick I kind of had was I would have liked the head was kind of like bubbly and a little thin.
Mm, yeah,
Would have been
yeah.
cool, maybe some oats in there or something, but just like that a little
A little bit stronger.
meatier.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I thought the flavor was on point. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah. I thought it was really tasty. I thought in my mind it was going to be a little bit darker in color.
Yeah,
But as
it
far
was
as
pretty pale,
it was a little bit
actually.
paler than I thought. But as far as like this style goes, I mean, like I haven't had a ton of ESBs, but this one
That's because
was,
they don't, not a ton of ESPs
yeah,
exist.
exactly. People just don't make it that much. And I really liked this one. And this is the kind of thing where when I see, basically, this is my rule now. I think it's just literally what the rule is. If I see ESB, if I see brown, red, or amber, I'm buying it because
Yeah,
I have to tell the brewery, make more of this. That's like
right.
my thing.
And the breweries that are making that, like, that's not the trendy, like, hip thing to do. So,
Hmm.
like, it's not some sort of pineapple, you know, lactose
Exciting.
thing
Yeah.
that's going to sell even if it's bad.
Hmm.
So, the fact that that exists is often like, hey, maybe these people are making pretty good beer.
Exactly. So vote with your dollar and pick up more of these. So
Magic players need to hear this more than anyone because they always have
yeah,
opinions and then they just buy stuff.
it's true. It's true. Vote with your dollar. Either, I mean, like, I mean, Magic players in multiple situations where it's like you hate something and you're really frustrated about it, but you keep buying it. Like people are
Yeah.
going to keep making it because it's gone. This is a fun story. When I was a kid, my mom would buy a bunch of food for the house. And if I ate something and I was like, this isn't very good, but it's around and we have a bunch of it, so I might as well eat all of it so it's gone. She would just
Yeah.
keep buying it because she
Yeah.
thought
Yeah.
that I liked it. And I would have to tell her, like, no, I'm just eating it because it's there, but I want it to go away. And so just don't. Just stop consuming things you don't like. Um,
Yeah.
Turns out it
Same
helps
thing
you.
happened with me and my brother. My dad bought
Hmm.
this like horrible drink or whatever one time. We're like, let's just like get through these as quickly as possible so he can buy the good drink again. But then
Hmm.
my dad is obviously like, whoa, they really loved that one and it's cheap.
Hmm.
Yeah, let's buy another one, a pack of that. So it just makes sense. Like my
Hmm.
obviously my dad was right in that situation. Like
Of
why would he
course.
think otherwise if we're from his perspective we're devouring it. So
Yeah, it's just like, oh, they love this thing. This is the only thing that makes sense.
yeah,
While I'm trying to tell my mom, buy more cereal. And she's like, you guys don't eat cereal and it goes bad. So I don't
right.
buy it.
So no.
Yeah. It's like, I will not do that. And you're like, no, but you buy the wrong cereal, And so we have all those things. But yes, make sure to buy things that you like. Buy from your local game store. Buy from your local brewery.
Yeah.
Those are my things. All
Especially
right,
if your local brewery is steadfast, because
exactly, and they make ESBs like this. They're tasty.
yeah.
Well, with that glowing review, where do we want to put this?
I'm a slap diamond on this one.
I
I
think I'm
really
gonna.
enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. This is something I will definitely pick up again for multiple reasons, besides telling them that they should make some more. But yeah, we also have an amber in the fridge from them. So
Oof. I'm excited for that now.
yeah, so anytime a brewery has stuff like that, we also have some crazy things going on. So stay tuned for those. But ESB Diamond, always happy to see it, and
Yeah.
delicious. If this could be just a regular, if I could be so bored of this beer that it's just everywhere, that'd be amazing. I would love
Yeah,
that.
that'd be awesome. That's the world
Yeah.
I want to live in.
Yeah, I can't wait to be tired of, oh God, everyone's making ESBs now. It's just, ugh.
Yeah. Not another ESB.
Oh gosh, can I get something else?
Please give me a lacto fermented IPA again.
Yeah. I will say I did have a lacto fermented IPA like yesterday, and
Yeah.
it was really nice. It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just like, it's just one of those hype styles, you know,
it is. It is for sure.
easy
I
to make
do
fun of.
I do buy into it, but yeah. Anyway, ESB, delicious and great. Diamond. Anyway, Jeff, are you ready for closing time?
Sure am.
So, as always, you can always reach us at Arena Regulars on Instagram and Blue Sky.
You may also find us on MTG Arena itself under the username Arena Regulars Podcast.
If you want to talk to me personally, you can find me at @the_Zach on Instagram and TikTok. I'm also on YouTube and a bunch of places, Twitch. So just type in regular Zach wherever there's a search bar, and hopefully you'll find me.
Yeah, best place to find me is our Discord channel. I go by the regular Jeff there. That's pretty much the only place I go by that. And the Discord channel is a lot of fun. It's a place to come share your bad beats or your trophies. We love to see trophies. We'll give you plenty of emoji love on those. But we also host a Arena Cube once a month, and it's a peasant cube, which means you don't need to use rare or mythic rare wildcards. Everything is a common or an uncommon, so you can use up those common and uncommon wildcards, or you might have a lot of the cards already, and it's a really well designed cube. It's a lot of fun. Honestly, that's worth the price of admission alone, which is $0. So go check the show notes to get the link to join up.
That is right. Also, we are like we have an amazing friend of the podcast who is constantly curating this cube. It's basically like his passion project, and so the next cube night is the 11th on June. We always do it the second Wednesday of the month, and it's immediately after the set comes out, and the cube will be updated with Final Fantasy cards the day after it comes out. Like, that's how up to date he likes to keep this cube, because there's a bunch of really cool cards in this set for the cube. It's exciting. So we'll see if Lock Coal is one of them. Maybe. I don't know. It looks pretty good. But anyway, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify. Leave us a review there as well. Go to our YouTube channel. Leave us a comment. All those types of things. It helps us out a lot with like SEO stuff. But also, we want to hear what you think, because that means a lot to us. Anyway, this has been the Arena Regulars.
Reminding you that Zach made his picks before he actually played this format.
God,
Wink,
what?
wink.
God.
Nudge.
Good night. All right, that's fine.